So your ideal territory manager, older gentleman, gray hair, has a million stories. People will like, they do business with whom they trust, like, and they have confidence in. So somebody that's older, that has a million stories, can talk, that's who you're looking at. So this was Jody Stedman. And like I said, he was getting $50 bills every day because he was just closing. He was a nut. And I don't know how he closed, but he was just like, yup, you're going to do it. Your house is dirty. Here, sign. And he wasn't like crazy pushy like that, but literally like he was just signing people up. But older, gray hair, military background because they can follow a system. But knows a lot of people in the community, knows the territory, right? Because then they know where the juicy neighborhoods are. They can start name dropping throughout the presentation, right? Because they know people. Like Sam Brooks, he was, he had the largest roofing company in Greenville for the longest time. He ran 18 crews, right? So he knows everybody in the community. Like when he's doing quotes, he's like, yeah, I grew up with that guy. Yeah, here you go, $2,000 ticket, signed, and he just knows everybody. It's really, really cool to see that. So doesn't need to make $100K a year. So guys, we are into the roof, cleaning industry, not the roof replacement. So we may not make $100,000 a year, but guess what? You're going to make 50. If you're hustling, you can do $60,000 in a year. If you mix that up with commercial, you can even do a little bit more as they start doing small commercial. My territory managers are selling $350,000 a year at 15% commission. So it's going to take time though. I always say when you first come on the first year, you're not going to make, $60,000. It's just not going to happen. You're probably going to be around 40, 45,000 the first year, but as it builds, on itself, and then everybody and you have your previous customers, you're just going to sell on top of that, and then it's just, rolls on itself, and then eventually, I think Sam's been here for 4 years, and I forgot what he made last year, but it builds on itself, because we have a track record now. Yes, sir.
Now, when they're returning the next year and the year after, are they getting a commission on that also?
So, they get commission on anything in their territory from previous, right? And then any relationship. So say they're in territory A, right? But this guy refers them to somebody in territory B. That guy's going to do that quote in territory B because of the relationship. I don't want to split that relationship up and then have a new territory manager come up and he's just buck wild and the guy's like, whoa, no, I'm not feeling this, right? You want that relationship to carry on so you get those closed jobs. Not pushy, easy to talk, and can talk about anything. So they got to be able to talk and talk smooth, you know what I mean? Not pushy. You don't want anybody to push people into anything because then you're going to get calls and they're going to be like, the next day you're like, we're going to go with somebody else, right? You're going to see a lot of that if your territory manager is pushy and is like, hey, we need to sign you up, you know what I mean? You're going to have a lot of turnover on quotes. You don't want to see that. If you start to see that, then you need to do a ride-along, figure out what's going on, right? Great communication skills. This is key. You have to write everything. I'm not a very good communicator, so I use my special instructions box. That's why I put that there, right? To communicate there. Because I get talking. I get talking with a customer and you're thinking about cleaning and you don't, talk about this area because you're talking about something else, It goes fast. So you got to use that special instructions box to over-communicate to the customer and communicate to the technicians. And can follow a system. Some people don't like following systems. It's really important because systems are key, right? That's how you dot your I's and cross your T's and you make sure the whole process is smooth for the customer. And we're going to go in there in a little bit and I'm going to show you exactly how the lead comes into the office and how it goes throughout the whole office after this class. All right, so how to choose. So anybody can say they can do anything, right? You're in an interview. Yeah, I can do that. This is what I did. I've done sales for 30 years. I can do this. I can go up on a roof. I'm not afraid of heights. But then when you put the guy on the ladder and he's like, oh my goodness. You start shaking. You're like, I thought you said you can go up on the ladder, So anybody can say that. They can talk the talk. They're salespeople. They're trying to sell you, right? So you got to put them to the test. So here's a little thing that we did. But this is for technicians. But you can change this up for salespeople too. So like handling a ladder, carrying, setup, climbing, and you rate them 1 through 10. We'll do a little assessment out there. So when they come in for the interview, I said, all right, great. You sound really good. Let's go out and start, doing an assessment and see how you set up the ladder. Like, oh, really? Okay, yeah. So then they set up the ladder, they put it on the building, they go up on the roof, and some guys, they'll get up, about 2 rungs from the top, and then they're like, the ladder starts shaking and everything. You're like, oh man, you know what I mean? And you know right then and there if he's a good candidate. Same with territory managers. You know, you can even, I even let them ride along. Do a ride along for a day. See if it's a good fit for you. I want to make sure the company is a good fit for you and you're a good fit for the company. You know, go ride with Sam Brooks. Go ride with, you know, anybody. You know what I mean? Whoever's available. Or ride along with you and just, you know, go drive through a neighbor and say, hey, what would you charge for that roof? And, you know, some people will be like, well, I don't even know this industry. I have no idea, you know. Or some people might say, well, how long would it take? Oh, it'll take 3 hours to clean that roof. Okay. You know, I'd probably be around $550, you know, and then you kind of get the way they're thinking. That way they're not underselling you because everybody's got a number in between their eyes, right? And so some people that can only sell $50,000, I'm not going to stick in $100,000 territory because he's only going to sell $50,000. And it's funny because I've seen it time and time again where they go into a territory and they sell $40,000, then you give them a little bit more. They only sell $40,000 because then they go home and they're on the couch or they're like, I made my $40,000, I'm good, right? So you got to make sure that that number in between their eyes is relevant to your territory. Make sense? All right, so needed paperwork, of course. So look into your local laws, but here are some suggestions. So you got to obviously have an application, a non-compete agreement. This is important because you are training them on your trade secrets, how to sell this thing. An I-9 driver's license, social security card on file, W-4, any state-specific paperwork. Like in North Carolina, we had to have the NC-4. We didn't know about that until tax season, and that was a big boo-boo. We had some late fees on that one. But employee handbook, a signature page for signing off different things like drug-free workplace, you know, whatever it's going to be. And then have them sign off on that. Uniforms, if you're getting them uniforms, have them sign off on the uniforms, you know. Any PPE, have them sign off on any of that, whatever they need. The flyer rule sign-off sheet. I had to go and literally type up a flyer rule because some of my guys were putting, well, I don't think they were putting it in. I think my competitors were taking them out of the paper box and putting them in the mailbox so we would get in trouble, is what I think was going on, because I know my territory manager wasn't putting them in. But I had to go because we got the calls, and they're like, Pat, you don't want to go to jail for 5 years, right? Because you're putting it in a mailbox or around it. So what we did was we had a flyer rule sign-off sheet. Say, guys, you cannot put it in or around the mailboxes. I don't want to go to jail. You want to keep your job, you got to follow the rules. So what I did was had them sign off. That way, if we did get a call, look, everybody signed off. It's on them now, not on you. So if they went and they did that and they put it in the mailbox, they signed off saying they weren't going to do that, that's on them. So, and then obviously, you know, if your competitor's doing, you just got to hunt them down or something like that. But it's just better to be safe than sorry, right? Trail cam. Trail cam, that's what I'm talking about. So 15% contract. You don't want any of that he said, she said stuff, right? So have a contract. That way there's no ifs, ands, or buts. No, you told me you were going to be hourly plus commission. You know, you don't want that coming down the pike 3 or 4 weeks later, right? Have clear communication. Background checks, like we talked about. Ask the SEAL. This is huge, guys. If you're not using Ask the SEAL, this is a must. So I believe they just opened this up to the public. So get involved in that because it's just knocking down the barriers. You send SEAL mail, they get an email with your picture, your background, you know what I mean? Like what you like to do. Literally, they will invite you into their house, you know, because they know you. Oh, you got 4 kids? Great. You're going to relate now. It's easier. It's not like, who are you again? And they barely got the door cracked open. You're like, hey, I'm Patrick with Precision Pro Wash. You know what I mean? They're like, what are you doing here? We're supposed to be giving you a quote. What time? I don't think so. You know what I mean? But when you send that SEAL mail, then it's a smooth transition into that quote. And then obviously a medical questionnaire, you know. You don't want anybody getting tennis elbow, you know, throwing those flyers out. You saw me. I was like, whoa, 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 right? So have a medical questionnaire, just that kind of stuff. Can you flyer while you drive? You don't want anybody driving into parked cars. You know, that wouldn't be good for the sales vehicles. So that kind of stuff. Drug screening contest or consent form, not a contest, but a consent form.